I would like to thank the mayor and the council members and everyone that worked to get us to this position where the city is poised to have Union Dry Dock. I know it was a lot of work, and I appreciate that. And I also appreciate that the comments I gave, I wasn't able to appear the last time. I gave suggestions for things that needed to be added to the lease, and they were added, and I appreciate that also. So thank you so much. However, I'm here to urge you not to sign it yet, and I'll give you the reasons why. First, here's my expertise. I'm a kayak guide, and I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I was the vice president of programs and safety for Outward Bound in the busy Boston Harbor. I was also the outdoor programs manager for REI in the New York Tri-State. I have a lot of experience and expertise in these waters, bringing kayakers, paddleboarders, and other human-powered boaters out there. I also run Resilience Paddle Sports. We're different than Hoboken Cove Boathouse. We provide lessons and tours to adults, and we provide environmental education and summer camp paddling and after camp paddling for youth. Last year, we served 1,500 adults and 700 youth. 700 youth we had on the water last year. That's a lot of people who are at risk of New York Waterway in their location, in the location that they may be using. I'm going to tell you a story first. In 2013, we're crossing the river. We're talking about New York now. There was an RFP, Hudson River Parks Trust, and as a result, there was a shuffling of different entities at different piers. The Manhattan Kayak Company ended up moving from Pier 66 to Pier 84, adjacent to New York Waterway. Within 3 years, there was an accident in which a group of kayakers was run over by New York Waterway Ferry Company. Within 3 years. This is the same amount of time as the lease that you're talking about. Okay, so there was certainly an investigation. Yes, there was. And the findings, you can read them online, but the main reason was because, two reasons: a lack of communication between the kayak and ferry company and the sun glare that prevented the ferry captain from seeing the kayakers. We can't change the sun glare, but you can work on the communication between kayak and ferry companies. My organization, we already used all the different things, all the different forms of communication that were suggested in the investigation. We already used them, and we continue to use them. New York Waterway was asked, or was told, that they had to always have a mate or someone who was on watch, looking out for people in the event of the sun glare again. And they were supposed to monitor a certain channel on the VHF radio, channel 13. That was the outcome. They were asked to do that. In November, just this past year, my group had a near miss with New York Waterway at the Lackawanna terminal. We did everything we were supposed to do. We radioed it in on channel 13. We wore brightly colored clothing. We had brightly colored kayaks. We held our position. We stayed out of the way. And still, we ended up within touching distance of the bow of the vessel. The New York Waterway ferry, that particular ferry, didn't sound the horn when they backed out. They didn't monitor the radio. They didn't have a lookout, and they nearly ran us over. So I contacted the Harbor Operations Committee, which, if you don't know them, they're a portion of the Waterfront Alliance. And that's their role. They help communication between different entities, different stakeholders in the water. They contacted the safety director of New York Waterway, and he did an internal investigation and found those things to be true that I just said. They weren't in compliance. This is just this November, 6 years after that incident where the kayakers were run over. And what he said he did, the safety director said, he issued a stern directive. Okay, a stern directive. They almost ran us over. People would have died. potentially. They would have been injured. And so my reading of the lease in its current form, my opinion is it's not strong enough in the language. Yes, thank you so much for including the suggestions that I put in there about having New York Waterway follow the law, the marine law about these communication tools. However, there's no consequences. It says if they do something against the lease after, they have to correct it within 30 days.
Noelle, if you could just wrap up your comments, just because I know a number of people are signed up to speak.
Okay, thank you. I urge you to not sign it until you include some kind of memorandum of understanding or some kind of plan for oversight and clear consequences for their actions. If you don't, you're going to have an accident. It's very clear there's going to be an accident. Thank you.
Thank you very much.